and see Dan Lloyd giving it hard right from the start. That's going to be coming up after this quick break.
Two wins for Ash Sutton and the Subaru so far at Croft. He starts this reverse grid race on row 5, but Dan Lloyd is the man on pole position for this 15th race in the Dunlop MSA British Touring Car Championship. Tim Harvey and David Addison are in the commentary box.
And the cars are on the green flag lap, ready for the start of this final 15-lap dash of the day. Dan Lloyd is the man that will start on pole position. Senna Proctor with him at the front of the grid. Matt Neal goes from third. He's got Tom Chilton alongside him, ahead of Andrew Jordan and Sam Tordoff, with Colin Turkington and Tom Ingram on the 4th row. Row 5 is Ash Sutton, and alongside him, Rory Butcher's MG. Then comes Dan Camish and Chris Smiley, who's needed an engine change after race 2. Tom Oliphant and Jason Plato are on the 7th row, ahead of Rob Austin and Aidan Moffat. Then Matt Simpson still struggling with the balance and the braking of that car. Jack Goff, teammate alongside him, ahead of Adam Morgan. And then Stephen Jelly. Brett Smith is 21st, ahead of Mike Bushell. Next on the grid, James Cole and Sam Smelt, with Ollie Jackson going from 25th, Jake Hill alongside. Then Bobby Thompson and Rob Collard, one to watch out, from 28th, ahead of Josh Price and Michael Caine. Tom Boardman and Josh Cook at the back of the grid. Josh, after brake failure at 130 miles an hour on the first lap of race 2. So you shuffle the ballast around again. Ash Sutton will carry 75 kilos this time, starting as he does on the 5th row. You've also got different drivers using the option tyre, so that gives you an idea of who's got what weight. 15 kilos for Dan Lloyd off pole. Option tyre for Senna Proctor, Matt Neal, Andrew Jordan, Sam Tordoff, Colin Turkington, Dan Camish, Jason Plato and Rob Austin in the leading half of the grid. Behind them, Matt Simpson will use the option, so will Stephen Jelly, also Ollie Jackson, Josh Price, Tom Boardman and Josh Cook. Rob Austin supporters are in fine fettle overlooking Hawthorn, and let's see what Rob can do. Let's also see what Rory Butcher can do in this race. Rory starting 10th on the grid, but Rory this time with a little bit of weight. Is 9 kilos going to make much difference? Let's see if we can talk to Rory just quickly. Rory, a bit of weight on board this time. Is that going to be a problem, or will it make no odds?
No, David, I don't feel that's much of an issue with the weight. Today really is just all about tyre wear. How we can manage the degradation of the tyre.
Apologies, we are struggling a little bit with the connection to Rory, but we wish him well for the next 15 laps. So as the cars head up towards the grid, 10th he will be. The MG, as I say, with 9 kilos, and could well be a car to watch in this race if he can keep out of trouble. And with the reverse grid, you know it's going to be an action-packed race. So let's see how it pans out on the run towards the first corner. Into position slots Dan Lloyd then. He will start on pole position. He's been at the front of touring car grids before. It's his home circuit. Can he translate that into a first BTCC win and also a first win for BTC Norlin? Remember, 10 different winners we've had already this season. Could he be the 11th? What about Tom Chilton on the 2nd row? Could he be a first-time winner this year? What about Andrew Jordan? What about Sam Tordoff? There's a whole list of quick people up at the front. There are some other interesting names, Tim, carving their way through from the back.
I thought you were going to name all 32 then as potential race winners, but certainly Dan Lloyd has race-winning pedigree. He's also leading the UK TCR Championship. I think he's won every race in that. He's used to winning.
And so, as the grid forms there, right at the very back, Josh Cook and Tom Boardman, touring car race winners both. A green flag show, meaning everybody is back from the warming up lap. And now they look towards the lights. 15 laps for round 15 of the Dunlop MSA British Touring Car Championship. Who will make the best start as we go racing? Jordan's away very quickly indeed, but he then gets a bit stuck behind Matt Neal. And Dan Lloyd leads the way. Chilton goes to the outside line to try to get alongside Proctor. Proctor defends Neal. Neal defends from Jordan. Dan Lloyd leads the way down to turn 1. Chilton goes second round the outside, but hasn't gone wide enough the road. Let's see. One of the Subarus in a bit of strife. Ash Sutton bouncing his way up towards Hawthorn. He gets up the inside of Andrew Jordan, who looks like he's lost a little bit of ground, but Sutton is right there on his tail as you ride with Turkington.
Yeah, I spoke to Senna Proctor. He said, I'm going to try and get to the inside because I know it's the safest place to be, but he didn't count on Chilton getting around the outside. That was a great start from him.
Jordan and Sutton going toe-to-toe. The two rear-wheel drive cars. BMW leans on Subaru. Take that, Ash. He gets run out wide over the curb. Down towards the Jim Clark S's for the first time on board with Sutton. There goes Jordan back ahead of him. Brave, brave stuff.
Yeah, forceful driving from Jordan, but he makes it pay and has the confidence to turn into the Jim Clark S's in front.
Through they turn. Matt Neal just up ahead of them. Colin Turkington next to McHugh as they dive through Sunny in. The next right is Sunny out. And it is Dan Lloyd leading the way then. He has got 15 kilos on board. Tom Chilton runs second with 33 kilograms. BTC Norlin Honda versus Motorbase Ford. Then the Power Max Tag Racing Vauxhall is third of Senna Proctor. Out of the complex, into the hairpin at the end of lap one. And the rest of the field all in a long, long line. The smoke coming out of Stephen Jelly's BMW as he locks up for the complex in the mid-pack as the leaders come over the timing line at the end of lap one. Look how tight it is in the midfield. Stephen Jelly gets a bit of a whack from Mike Bushell. They carry on regardless. Lloyd to Chilton is 0.4 of a second. That's all. Third is Proctor, fourth is Neal. Jordan fifth ahead of Sutton, Turkington, Tordoff, Ingram ninth, and Dan Camish rounding out the top 10 ahead of Rory Butcher here.
On board with Rory Butcher as we come through. He's got Dan Camish in front of him, and it's a fired up Dan Camish, I can tell you. He wants to make something happen for himself in this last race. You saw a flash of the brake lights there. Dan Camish, very much a left foot braker, just using a touch of brake with his left foot. Still would have been flat on the throttle, but just to stabilise the car.
Ingram having a go at the inside of Tordoff. Butcher defending from Smiley, who leans on Oliphant. Look up the road as Ingram got ahead of Tordoff then for 8th place. We'll see as the cars accelerate through Barcroft in a moment. Yes, he has. There is the Toyota ahead, so Tom Ingram has gained 1 place back. That puts him 8th at the expense of the Ford. But, of course, here, Ingram is behind his championship rival, Colin Turkington. So the real plan is to try and get ahead of the BMW. That's going to be the next target for him.
There was definitely some divergence of opinion on the grid as to which was the better tyre, wasn't there? Some people thinking the hard tyre would be better, others thinking the prime medium tyre would be better. So we'll have to wait and see. Chilton certainly looks a little bit quicker than Lloyd at the moment. They're both on the prime tyre, should be making hay at the moment ahead of Proctor, who's on the hard tyre, but keeping up very well.
Senna Proctor then in 3rd place, comes over the line. Matt Neal is 4th, Andrew Jordan is 5th, Sutton 6th, Turkington 7th, then it's Ingram ahead of Tordoff. Camish is still rounding out the top 10. Oliphant up to 12th at the expense of Chris Smiley. Last lap through. Fastest lap so far is Chilton now, getting himself onto the back of the race leader.
Yeah, I thought he was looking quick, and oh, look, Morgan looking for a move up the inside of Plato. Is he going to get through? Are they going to be side by side? He does. Good move. You can do that when your front wheel drive tyres are still working at their best. Later in the race, it gets much harder.
So Adam Morgan, who had good pace in that second race, but it was all rather negated because of the drive-through for the false start, just like the man who's overtaken Jason Plato had a false start. Jason Senna was so keen to get going, took it on the chin, and he's dropped 1 spot. This is on board with Ash Sutton, who's dropping away a little bit now from Andrew Jordan. Remember, Sutton's got the 75 kilos back on board this car.
Yeah, I think Ashley will be happy to get a top 6 position anywhere in this last race and get some really good points from the weekend to push him back into at least a hunt of the championship. But he needs to pick his fights in this last race carefully.
So Tom Chilton on to the back of Dan Lloyd. This is the lead battle, nose to tail. They turn now through the left-hander and out of the hairpin, up towards the timing line. Can Dan Lloyd stay ahead of Chilton? The gap was 0.475 last time through. And down now towards the right-hander of Clairvaux. The gap between them is up to half a second, and they're just starting to drop Proctor, aren't they?
They are, but Proctor can come back at them later in the race, as I'm sure he... Oh, side by side, Camish down the inside of Butcher, gets it done and takes Oliphant with him. Oliphant and Camish, as I said in the last race, the two ex-Porsche Carrera Cup drivers very closely together. Butcher trying to get back in front, and he has. He's actually forced Oliphant across the chicane. Oliphant needs to really give that place back because he gained a big advantage there, at least on the track. Look, he's actually forcing Camish to defend when he was behind Butcher.
So Oliphant comes out of that further up the road. Aidan Moffat's on a mission behind him as well, creeping up the order. Adam Morgan is 18th, having got past Plato. Jack Goff 17th in what's been a pretty forgettable weekend for Eurotech. But they're the race leaders. Now, Dan Lloyd's advantage has come down in the sectors. But Lloyd last time did the fastest lap of the race. He's absolutely determined to score that maiden win for him and for the team.
Yeah, very much one of the new young teams. BTC Norlin but Taylor and his crew, well, it'd be a fantastic reward for them after their disastrous, damage-filled Alton Park meeting. And, of course, the motor-based run, shredded wheat Chilton car, Ford Focus RS, are much more experienced teams with many wins under their belt.
We're riding on board Sutton then. He's caught back up to Jordan. Look as they come over the line. The leading 6 cars now covered by 4 seconds. So there goes Matt Neal. He turns through 4th. Jordan is 5th, just kicked up ahead of Jordan. He's got Sutton behind him, and Sutton is being caught by Turkington, who is in turn being caught by Ingram. There's a lot to play out of this battle yet. And Lloyd to Chilton, the gap creeping up to 6 tenths last time through.
Yeah, it's early days in this race at the moment. For those of you that think that the Subaru has loads of boost and that's the only reason it's going quickly, I looked at the speed track figures after the last race that was won by Sutton with 75 kilos. In the first speed trap he was 30th, in the second he was 15th, and in the third speed trap across the start-finish line he was plumb last. So that isn't the reason for all this Subaru performance.
Looking very racy now, isn't he? Onto the back of Jordan, trying to retake the place. Down they come, nose to tail. BMW sideways, which has been Andrew's problem all weekend. That opens the door, and Sutton's going to dive through it. Sunny out, through he comes. The Subaru back ahead of the BMW.
We've seen that problem from Andy Jordan's car all weekend. And look, Turkington's going to go through as well. He's going to be around the outside. Just don't seem to be able to clear this power oversteer problem on Jordan's car. And it seems to really only affect his BMW, which is the strange thing.
So Jordan now is going to be under attack from Ingram. Look behind him, and Ingram knows he's got to get on with the job here because Turkington is getting up the order and gaining points. And of course is Sutton, this new danger within the championship after a great day thus far. Over the line they come. We've now done 5 laps. There are 10 to go, and there's contact as Chris Smiley and Aidan Moffat make contact, and Smiley slides across the grass on the inside. He takes one of the hoardings, he picks up loads of grass, but the Honda will rejoin. But that's poor reward for the team after the engine change between races 2 and 3.
It is, but their other car still leads with Lloyd. It's half a second ahead. Now look, did Smiley move across, or did... Let's have a look. Here they come into shot. Smiley moved across on Moffat. Moffat was all the way to the edge of the road. So I'm afraid I'm going to call that as Smiley's instigator in that problem. Moffat could not have moved any further over, and you can't lean on a car like that without expecting that result. Sorry, Chris.
But thankfully, no major bodywork damage. A big wild ride over the grass, and he's right in saying the sister car leads the way still, and Dan Lloyd and Tom Chilton look are dropping Senna Proctor all the time. Matt Neal 4th, Sutton, Turkington, Jordan, Ingram, Tordoff, Oliphant rounding out the top 10. Can Dan Lloyd hang on in there? He was quicker in sector 1, he was quicker in sector 2. The gap creeping up, but it's only a very, very slight gain each time through. There's the battered Audi of Ollie Jackson. Further back, Bobby Thompson tries to have a go at Josh Cook. Josh Cook is making a bit of progress up from the back of the grid after that scary ride in race 2. Sutton over the line then. He runs 5th. Matt Neal just up the road ahead of him, down towards Clairvaux. Sutton's last lap was a 26.4. Turkington not quite as quick, but he's doing his best to get onto terms.
Yeah, Lloyd though at the front at 26.8, and the next 4 cars behind, all in the 27. So Lloyd's got pace,
hasn't he? The gap is up to 9 tenths of a second. There they are. Dan Lloyd, the leader, Tom Chilton, a very experienced touring car racer in the World Championship as well as in the UK. And Matt Neal is under attack now from Ash Sutton, who of course is getting back into the groove despite all the weight. And he's proved that he can win today with maximum and no weight whatsoever. Here he is, fighting his way through the S's, looking for a way past Matt Neal's Honda. 27 kilos on board the Honda. And Matt is not going to let him by without a big fight.
Yeah, you know, we saw down that long straight, you know, it's not... The Subaru has good traction off the corner, but the Honda, which is definitely not one of the faster cars, does pull away down that section. The performance of this Subaru is coming as much from the chassis as from everything else.
So the gap comes down as they wriggle into the complex. The Subaru very good out of the last hairpin as well. So Sutton now closing up all the while. Can he find a way past Matt Neal on the inside into the corner? Matt closing right up onto the tail of Senna Proctor. Sutton goes to the outside line. Will try and switch sides. Look at the drive out of the corner, staying right on the tail of the Honda now as they come over the line. Then the Honda just creeps away slightly. Over the timing line once more, down towards Clairvaux. The gap has widened now, and Matt Neal is back onto the tail of Senna Proctor. Into Clairvaux they go. The leading gap is over a second now.
Yeah, that is about the performance disparity you perhaps expect from a car carrying 75 kilos, but just look how good that chassis is. Oh no, another poor result for poor Rob Austin, who was out in the gravel at the start of race 1, and he's not going to get anything out of race 3 either.
It's been a very disappointing day to a circuit that's not very kind over the years to Rob, so he'll be in no mood to stay late in the paddock tonight. Forget about this, move on to Snetterton at the end of the summer break. Now, Rob Austin out, sadly, but it's still game on here for 3rd, 4th, 5th. Proctor, Neil, Sutton and Colin Turkington not that far behind, just perhaps waiting to see what pans out up the road ahead of him, and if he can get another place and more points out of this, he will go for it.
Well, Colin's in a nice position. He's got one of his teammates, Andy Jordan, behind him, so no pressure from behind because Jordan knows exactly what the championship situation is, so Colin can afford to sit there, let Sutton attack Neil and maybe pick up a few places later in the race.
And of course, Turkington is outscoring Tom Ingram. Tom was ahead of Colin in race 2, and the the Subaru dives through on the inside, and that puts Sutton ahead of Matt Neal. Into 4th place goes Ash Sutton into the hairpin. Can Matt fight back? Can Turkington find a way past the Honda? Over the timing line they go, down towards Clervaux. Which car does Sutton defend from? Matt Neal does fight back on the inside. He brakes desperately late. There's contact, and Sutton goes wide off the road through the gravel. Just avoids the barriers, but Ash Sutton gets roughed up big time. He gets forced out wide. There was a little bit of contact between him and Matt Neal, and Ash Sutton had gained 1 place, and he's now lost 3. He's back behind Jordan.
Yeah, well, I don't know if there was any contact between Sutton and Neil at that hairpin to force Neil wide, but that looked very much like Matt Neal was coming through whatever happened, wasn't it? And, well, it was, I think they're both fortunate to carry on.
Indeed so. Let's have another look at it on board with Sutton.
So Sutton moved to the inside, but Matt's already down the inside. I think, well, he's 3/4 of the way alongside, and Sutton had to turn into the corner, but the Honda was quicker along the start-finish line. We really needed to see what happened into the hairpin, perhaps, from on board Sutton, to see if there was any contact.
The lead gap you see is going up. It's 1.3 seconds. Sutton flashing his light, not amused about all of that. He wants to get back up there. And Matt Neal hanging on to this place, keeping Colin Turkington at bay. So, the 2 race leaders, Lloyd and Chilton, remain clear of this great battle pack behind. Now it's Turkington who comes up to attack Neal. Sutton tries to go round the outside of Jordan, and Ingram is closing up as well. But I did suggest Matt Neal wasn't going to give up that place without a big fight. He's no lover of the Subaru, it would appear, and so he's got his place back.
Yeah, well, that was forceful driving, wasn't it? To say the least.
Here he goes then. Running 4th, it's Lloyd, Chilton, Proctor ahead. Matt Neal is 4th, Turkington is 5th. Then it's Jordan, but not for long. Here comes Sutton. He has a look at the inside. No, he couldn't do it there. So Andrew Jordan fends him off, and of course, the longer he defends from Sutton, it means that Turkington is going to be able to escape up the road. We're on lap 10 now, out of 15, and the leading gap is 1.7 seconds. Out of Tower, Sutton with a good run out of the corner. Can he get alongside Jordan? No, the BMW accelerates away and keeps the place.
Well, it was a mistake from Jordan 2 corners ahead previously that let Sutton through when he got oversteer coming out of this, out of Sunny Inn, which is the next corner they come to, and Sutton's car very quick up the inside. Look, no, Jordan's got that under control now. He's not going to make that same mistake again, but even there, oversteer coming through Sunny out is costing him time up to the complex.
Does not look a comfortable car, does it? Into the complex he comes. I mean, Andrew again wringing its neck and getting decent pace out of it, but he's having to work hard. Not only are they being caught by Ingram, they're taking Tordoff and Oliphant with them. Here comes Sutton again to the outside at the hairpin, and Jordan slides into the corner, which forces Sutton wide, and he tucks back in behind, and here will come Ingram, backs up the inside. Now, can Ingram find a way through? Let's see. No, didn't have to drive out of the corner, slots back in behind. Matt Neal goes through 4th, Turkington 5th. Way up the road ahead, it's still the same top 3. Lloyd, Chilton, Proctor, and this line of cars for 4th place is getting longer and longer and longer lap by lap. Oliphant is now on the back of it, looking for a way past Tordoff.
Yeah, and Lloyd has now built a gap of 2 seconds at the front. I told you he knew how to lead races, and there's no sign of any problem there. His soft tyres, or his medium prime tyres rather, working absolutely fine at the moment.
Colin Turkington with a little puff of tar smoke turning into Tower. There is Tordhoff under attack from Tom Oliphant, who is now the best of the Mercedes trio. And the Mercedes have all struggled again for balance and set up around here. Another of the bogey tracks for the cars, but Tom is going strongly. There is Dan Lloyd away up front as he goes through Sunny. Chris Smiley, after his big moment, has stopped out on track, incidentally. Although we saw the car get off the grass, it hasn't gone much further. So just the one BTC Norlin Honda surviving. Where is Adam Morgan up to? 14th, and Aidan Moffat 13th, just finishing off the Mercedes topic. Matt Neal ahead of Turkington. Jordan, Sutton, bit of a gap back. Ingram has fallen away as he defends from Tordhoff.
Well, I can tell you Bert Taylor will be chewing his fingernails off in the pit lane, won't he? The thought of a first win for him and the first win for Dan Lloyd would be absolutely fantastic.
We're on board with Sutton, staring at the back of Andrew Jordan once more, and it's proving harder this time around to get past the BMW. I just wonder how much damage, we've seen bodywork damage on the Subaru, whether there's any other damage after that clatter over the gravel than just off the Armco there.
It can't have helped him, can it?
True.
We saw some damage on the left-hand side. The car still looks fast, though. Still looks good.
Turkington breathing down Matt Neal's neck here, 4th and 5th through the chicane. Curb right, lots of curb left, back on the power, down towards Tower. But Turkington not close enough now to line up for a move on the inside.
No, Matt knows how to defend, and we know if he's given an inch, he'll take it. But Turkington's not going to take any risks. I think the real instant potential here, if you want to call it that, is between Turkington and Jordan. Sorry, between Sutton and Jordan.
Yeah, because Ash wants to get back past the BM, doesn't he? He's been there once, he got roughed up, and he will want to fight back. No doubt he'll have something to say about the Matt Neal move post-race. Matt will have another view, undoubtedly, in Forever Forward. Adam Morgan making some progress, and you can see both the round and the weekend standings. There's a driving standards flag for Rory Butcher, which is more to do with track limits. I think he might have had one of those earlier on in the weekend as well, from memory. But Rory Butcher running in 12th place as the cars come into the complex. And Sutton is still on his toes, isn't he? Looking for a way past Jordan. He tries every lap up towards the hairpin, which is the corner after this. Out of the complex they come, and now, as Matt Neal locks up, Sutton into the back of Jordan, forces him wide. The BMW opens the door, but that was with an assist.
That was with an assist, yeah. Some forceful driving going on in this race 3.
Jordan wants to fight back. Look, Sutton defends the inside line. And Jordan will be well fired up after that, as he was before. Through Clairvaux they come. Well, Sutton probably thinking, I got roughed up once in this race. Now it's my turn to stick my elbows out. But Jordan, sideways again at Hawthorn. Talk us through this, Tim.
Coming through the penultimate one corner. Jordan's got the inside covered, and Sutton moves across and just leans on him in the braking area. Sadly, I would say that's a position he should give back. As much as I'm a fan of Sutton and his driving, I think that's a position he feels he should give back.
I think Andrew Jordan would agree with you on that as well. Bobby Thompson's being given the driving standards flag as well, incidentally, in 21st place as the leaders zap through the Jim Clark S's down to Barcroft once more. Jordan hustles on behind the Subaru. And Sutton going after Turkington now. We've got under 3 laps to go in this final race of the weekend. Still Dan Lloyd who leads the way. Now there is Tom Ingram keeping Sam Tordhoff behind him. 8th and 9th they are. Tom Oliphant just dropping off the back of that group a little bit. Matt Neal into the complex now. Hard on the brakes into the complex comes Sutton. Andrew Jordan behind him. Ash Sutton then now in 6th place once more, and Andrew Jordan trying to find a way back through if he can. There is the leader, Dan Lloyd, and look at the gap he's managed to build over Chilton now. 4.3 seconds.
Yeah, it's actually Senna Proctor that's coming back into the frame now. His lap times are quicker than Chilton in front. Proctor's on the hard tyre, and I think Chilton's suffering with that prime tyre going off, and it's going to be a battle for that 2nd place.
Look at Adam Morgan's pace as well. He's just up into 12th. Rob Collard is carving his way through from the back of the grid. So now it's Morgan 12th, Butcher down to 13th, 14th is Rob Collard, and he's not given up yet either in the BMW. Through he goes on the inside round Hawthorn. Collard gains another place.
Yeah, typical charging Collard drive, extracting everything out of that car and enjoying racing through the pack.
Aidan Moffat in the background as well in the Laser Tools Racing Mercedes 15th. And Matt Simpson is next up, the Alton Park race winner. So Dan Lloyd is currently on lap 14 of 15, and look at the way that Proctor is closing on Chilton. This gap was 1.2 seconds at the start of the lap, and 0.6 quicker in the first sector alone was Proctor. This should change before the end, shouldn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be a fantastic final lap, isn't it? The final couple of laps. So definitely Chilton's going to have to start defending for his life for the end of this race.
Nose to tail for second, all of which will play into the hands of Dan Lloyd. It'll be a very popular win for BTC Norlin if it hangs on in there for one more lap. Dan Lloyd goes through. What did he say pre-race? He was going to go flat out right from the start, go hard. Well, he has done so, and he leads by 5 seconds, and it's going to grow that if Chilton has to defend from Proctor. The battle pack for fourth, Neil, Turkington, Sutton and Jordan. And then there's damage on the front of Ingram's car, potentially. He's got the inside line, and he gets back ahead of Tordoff, who was level with him as they came over the line. That's for 8th place, and Tom Ingram is being given a real workover now.
He's fighting for every point, as you'd expect, for his championship. Now, Senna Proctor's just dropped off a little bit there. He needs to get right on the back of Chilton. Whether Chilton stepped it up a bit, side by side behind.
Turkington's trying to get past Neil, but he's also got to defend from Sutton. So Ash Sutton is on his toes and he's on the move as they come into the Jim Clark Estes for the last time.
Flat out through here, there's only a couple more overtaking places to come. These guys very evenly matched and throwing everything at it. Look at Sutton's car dancing, weaving, bobbing. He's probably trying to get on the back of Matt Neal, really, isn't he? But this man has driven a serene, perfect race. Dan Lloyd and the BTC Norlin team, congratulations to them.
Up to the complex for the last time. Chilton's hanging on to second. Neil is hanging on to fourth ahead of Turkington, Sutton and Jordan. There is one corner to go as the second place battle comes up towards us. But out of the hairpin for Bert Taylor and his son Ben's BTC Norlin team, Dan Lloyd wins the first ever victory for Dan in the British Touring Car Championship, the first for BTC Norlin for Bert Taylor's team. And still the battles rage on into the hairpin. Ingram elbows out, trying to keep Tordoff behind him. Chilton is second, Proctor is third. It's a drag race to the line and Tordoff is going to get ahead. There's contact there as Butcher gets turned round. Tordoff is 8th, Ingram is mugged on the line. He falls back by 97 thousandths. Oliphant 10th ahead of Camish, Collard, Morgan. Anybody for 14th? Here they come, 4 wide almost over the timing line. Butcher 14th, Simpson, Jelly, Moffat down to 17th, Cook, Plato 19th and James Cole 20th. And that is a very happy gang of guys on the pit wall. They've had a huge repair job after Alton Park. There's been some tragedy in the family as well. And they have bounced back in absolutely perfect style. Dan Lloyd takes his first British Touring Car win. And Bert Taylor, who's a great enthusiast, I suspect might be a rather tearful Bert Taylor after that. That will mean the world to him.
Yeah, and so glad that he picked this guy to put in the car. You know, Lloyd has showed great promise. He's been on the front row before. He's had race-winning pace, and now he's pulled it off.
And there, you can see how much it means. There in the headset is Bert Taylor, who probably can't believe that. He all smiles. The ultimate enthusiast is Bert. Zoe Timbrell, the team manager, being given a big hug. And as I say, it'll take a while for that to sink in because Bert has worked and worked and worked and tried and tried and tried for so many seasons. And he's had his first win.
Yeah, and Dan Lloyd's dad in tears as well.
Yes.
So it is, you know, that's the emotion of racing. We absolutely love it. You know, all the late nights, the hard work, the agony. Motorsport is 90% disappointment, you know, but we do it for the reasons that you've just seen. And it's great to see.
And to have a new winning driver and a new winning team makes it so special. Round 15 of the championship is won by Dan Lloyd, his first touring car victory from Tom Chilton and Senna Proctor for the podium. Matt Neal bags 4th ahead of Colin Turkington and Ash Sutton. Andrew Jordan 7th ahead of Sam Tordoff and Tom Ingram. That changing on the line by thousandths with Tom Oliphant in 10th. Dan Camish 11th from Rob Collard. Adam Morgan 13th ahead of Rory Butcher and Matt Simpson. And in that run to the line, Stephen Jelly and Aidan Moffat just losing out a little bit ahead of Josh Cook, Jason Plato, and then 20th over the line, James Cole. Bobby Thompson 21st ahead of Ollie Jackson and then Tom Boardman. Josh Price 24th from Jake Hill with Sam Smelt, Michael Caine, and then Brett Smith ahead of Jack Goff. He, I think, was a retirement, was he not, with 5 laps to go. Rob Ostley we saw retire into the pit lane. So disappointing weekend for both of them. Chris Smiley with the other side of the coin for BTC Norlin, a retirement, and so too Mike Bushell after early contact. So what about the championship? Colin Turkington is now 19 points ahead of Tom Ingram. Matt Neal is 3rd with Andrew Jordan on the advance. He's up to 4th, and Tom Chilton's 5th ahead of Adam Morgan, who was 2nd equal coming into this weekend. Ash Sutton's up to 7th. He was 13th when he got here. Jack Goff is down to 8th. Again, second equal when he came. He's ahead of Josh Cook, and Senna Proctor is now 10th. So Dan Lloyd's car has one final task to go, and that is to cleanly get through the post-race technical checks. The car, first of all, has its ride height tested with the roller that goes underneath, then it goes onto the scales. Phil Danbury, the scrutineer in the white shirt at the front of the car, going through the process with Sam Riches, and once they're happy, they can release the car. It'll go to Parc Fermé, Dan will clamber out, and the celebrations will begin. What a day it has been. We've had some very interesting racing, and the good news story, the feel-good story of the day, surely, is Dan Lloyd and Bert Taylor's combined victory. And Dan, don't forget, is a relative newcomer to this ball because he only joined in to replace James Nash at Alton Park. But he takes a first BTCC win. BTC Norlin as a team takes a first victory. And all that heartache for both sides, driver and team, has come good. Dan's father embraces him. Some very, very happy guys from the team. And Dan absolutely delighted, understandably. And it was quite some winning margin as well, 5.8 seconds, admittedly, with Tom Chilton having to